Hey everyone, this episode of The Vinyl Guide is sponsored in part by our friends at Groove Washer. Let Groove Washer clean and protect your vinyl with record cleaners, stylus brushes, protective sleeves, and more. Great holiday gifts for record nerds are available at groovewasher.com. Also, we are sponsored by AudiofileUSA.com. Over 42,000 titles in stock, all near mint and excellent condition. Dig, search, and find the gold at audiofileusa.com. And now, on with the show. Well, hey everyone, it's Nate. Welcome to episode 312 of The Vinyl Guide, the podcast for record collectors and music nerds. And today we welcome Mr. William Hooker, an absolute legend in the world of music, a staple of the New York no-wave scene, and such a creative gentleman and wonderful soul. William's music really defies all definition. There's no genre that captures accurately what he does. There are elements of jazz, electronica, noise rock, avant-garde, even punk rock and beyond in Williams' work. The best way to describe his music is really just to hear it for yourself. Williams' new album, Big Moon, is out now. It's on all streaming services, and physical copies can be had from your independent local music shop or by ordering direct from orgmusic.com. I recommend while you're grabbing a copy of Big Moon, also get a copy of Symphonie of Flowers, another great William Hooker album. Again, ask your local record shop for a copy or get yours direct from orgmusic.com. Now, I truly hope you enjoy our conversation today with William. We've got an extended version of this interview available only to supporters of the Vinyl Guide podcast at patreon.com/vinyl guide. By going to patreon.com/vinyl guide and supporting our show for $5 or $10 a month or more, you'll get access to extended interviews, early access to episodes, secret episodes, and more. Plus, you get to keep this show going, and that's absolutely huge. Thanks so much in advance for your support at patreon.com/vinyl guide. And with that, let's get into our conversation with the fabulous Mr. William Hooker. Hello.
Hi.
How are you?
I've just been waiting for this call. What can I tell you? I mean, thinking about how interesting it's going to be, to talk to you and spend time with you.
Well, I've been looking forward to it as well. I've been thinking about it all week, and I'm really glad we're able to connect. So, first off,
yes.
How are you doing? How was this whole season of this last year and a half of COVID and everything? How has that affected you in terms of your person and your art?
Well, all right, then. That's a good question. My person, for a long while, I just did not feel as if I was playing any music. And there was a big distance between playing live for people and wishing about it, thinking about it. It put me in a space of really thinking generally about how does art fit into life? Because I'm seeing many people are just sort of distraught about us playing music, the relationship of the arts in all forms to just everyday existence and everyday stuff that we have to do. And because of that, it makes you almost feel as if, are we still relevant? Are we still here? Are we still alive?
Mm-hmm.
And so that's the first thing that hit me. And then secondly, as it started to peter out a little bit better and things got a little bit better, I started to actually think about where do I want to play? What places do I want to play in? Am I going to be able to do it? Even though I would book the gigs, I would see many of them not happen.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're rehearsing and you're doing all this stuff, getting prepared. And then you find out it's not going to happen, or something else is going to come into it, or it's going to just be streamed, and it's just not, just the whole thing of like, what are the conditions? Because I try to make the best condition I can for whoever I'm performing for. And you just don't know. That's another thing. You just don't know that.
I don't know if you're familiar or even a fan of the show Curb Your Enthusiasm.
I've never seen it.
Oh, okay. A lot of it is improvisation, comedy, but the way the script is written, as I understand, is they have a particular scene. There's very little dialogue. They just say what they want that scene to achieve in the story. And it's up to the actors to be able to improvise and to move that point of the story from beginning to the end. How they get there is kind of up to the interaction, and that's kind of the gold of the show. It sounds like your construction is very much the same way. No? Okay. All right. Tell me about it. Because look, I'm fairly new to free jazz. Only in the last perhaps a decade or so.
Okay.
And so I want to learn. Like, how does this come together? How does something like Big Moon? How is it shaped over time?
Okay. Well, this project is shaped primarily by the fact that I chose other artists, sound artists, that had a certain level of expertise about their own instrument, as well as a certain level of camaraderie. Because you can't put 11 people, spread them out, and hope that they're going to go for everything that I tell them to do, without realizing they have to have a deep respect for each other. Because they have to be able to listen to each other, as well as be spontaneous enough so that when that dime is dropped, they have to call up everything that's inside of them as well as they can, and also have trust in me. Have trust in me so that they realize that I'm not there as like a conductor necessarily. I'm just directing the energy in terms of what sounds I want to mix together. So that's a different level of artistry in a sense, because you're not talking doesn't happen. People have to be they have to be really seriously focused on the piece that I've given them. And in many cases, these pieces are written out. So that's another thing.
So in that regard, do you start with, you've got an idea of what you want the finished piece to sound like?
No.
Okay.
Not totally. Because in this case, which is extraordinary for me, I had NYU Steinhardt Studios, which are state of the art. They really opened up to myself and whatever I wanted to do. So I knew I had as much time as I wanted. So that's another thing. I had total freedom, which is good, because when you feel as if you have to go in and you have to knock these pieces out in 2 hours, then you feel as if you edit yourself. And I didn't have to do that. I just knew that I had to keep the awareness of the relationships of the artists working together and separately. I had to keep that very, very clear, because, as I say again, I had to be able to have them stop on a dime. Because if I wanted to bring in the electronics from from that whole group of people, as opposed to, let's say, just the portion where the conga drum and the drum are playing together, I'd have to play and then I would have to stop, but they had to be totally looking at me to know that whatever I called on next had to start right then and there. Mm-hmm. Not that I wouldn't edit it later. That wasn't the point. Yeah, not that I wouldn't edit it later. But this was different for me. This is very, very different. This way of looking at recording is different, because usually I wouldn't have a group this large, number one. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't have a group this diverse, number two. And I wouldn't have all the time in the world to be able to create what I was really feeling and thinking about, to maximize the talent that I had in front of me. Mm-hmm. That's what it was about. Because I knew that these people were extremely talented. I just wanted to use to the best of my ability into theirs and to put it on tape. And right. That's, and it I'll tell you, it happened. It happened, which is, I don't know, there's just a joy in that, just mm-hmm. alone. There's a joy in that.
It seems you're in a very blessed position right now to be able to create in that way. And let's contrast that with 1977, Is Eternal Life.
Oh, God.
How different was that experience for you?
Well, that was in another lifetime. Mm-hmm. That was in another lifetime. And I mean, in another lifetime in the sense of where I was living, how I grew, what I was undergoing then as a person, what I'm undergoing now as a person, the experiences I've had since then, the people I've played with since then, my coming into New York and really feeling as if there were a lot of people who now are acquainted, now are associated with the generation preceding me. Mm-hmm. All right, then. So, and now I'm dealing with people, many in the generation after me. Okay. So you've got a whole different way of relating to these people. I don't know. Like I said, the best way I could explain it is it's another lifetime. It's right. Another lifetime completely, because in between there, you see all these other things that have happened, the rock situations. And I know that you probably know many of the rock people I've performed with, mm-hmm. or performed with me and on my recordings, and how and why that happened. And you come out of that and you go into you go into different phases. Mm-hmm. So I really can't even look back that far and give you an answer to that question, because it seems as if it happened. The music is still the same, because you've got to remember, it's all about this. Mm-hmm. What's going into your ear. It's not about the personality necessarily, even though you have to encounter that. Mm-hmm. So if you have a scale of notes, you're always dealing with that scale. You may be dealing with different kinds of instrumentation, mm-hmm. but basically sound doesn't change. Maybe my interpretation of it and my understanding of it can change. Am I clear about that?
Yeah, and
making sense to you about that?
I think I'm getting it. Okay. I guess the thing that fascinates me is you're still being very creative, very prolific. When you look back at those records, some decades old, and especially once the very beginning of your career, as you're just kind of finding your feet in these genres, can you listen objectively? Are you able to hear the maturity that you've had over the last several decades? Can you listen to it as an individual and enjoy that, or are you picking it apart? How is it whenever whatever occasion would have where you put on Is Eternal Life or Brighter Lights. What is your response to it? How do you feel about that?
I don't know. I don't listen to it.
Yeah. Okay.
No, I don't listen to it. No, I'm being perfectly honest with you. I mean, I really, whatever happened during that time, I'm happy that it did. But I can't judge from the standpoint of a person that has listened to it that much. Mm-hmm. I have not listened to it. For people that are just coming into the music, for example, mm-hmm. that's a good place to start. But then they have to recognize that there is a lot that happened after that. And so I try to be the kind of a person that's looking ahead. And I won't say it's a lot of work. It's just it takes a lot of energy to like try and find new players, try and find people that are coming on the scene, mm-hmm. In different areas and people that I feel should be on the scene, even if they don't even know it yet. So I don't keep looking back toward people that have, in many cases, passed away, mm-hmm. because I think that would elicit that kind of a feeling, and I kind of don't like that feeling that much. And if that has happened to any of the people that I know on those particular recordings, I don't like to dwell in that area for very long, mm-hmm. because I think it blocks me. It blocks my life and my understanding of where I am now in terms of the joy that has been given to me to be able to get up and play music every day with people that are alive. Mm-hmm. You see, I'm trying to go ahead. I'm trying to push it. I'm trying. So I'm not, really. So
I see what you're saying. Every moment you spend looking backwards is a moment that you can't enjoy the present or look towards the future.
Yeah.
Now, in terms of looking back, which
you like that up.
I'd like to understand because each one of us is really is a plant grown from the soil of our past, right? Okay. And so I like to understand I like to understand that nutritional element that we had, the records, the music, the things that made you. Okay. Tell me about your early life and how music played into that.
All right. Early life, how?
Okay, as a kid, what are your first musical or record memories? Tell me about the records. What were the records that changed your life, William?
All right. I really, there's been so many instances and people and credos and instances of joy and pain that for me to even try to analyze that question, it's kind of like I probably would forget most of it, to be honest with you.
Okay.
In talking to you right now, right here and now, in talking to you, really, I probably would forget many things that are very, very extremely important. So because of that, that's the only reason why I'm skirting the issue. That's the only, because I know you're trying to hit some points. And I just think that I've grown in a certain happiness. I've maintained within myself a certain optimism mm-hmm. about life and about the many things that I'm interested in. Whether those things have been downs or ups, it doesn't matter. I mean, it's almost as if those were my interests. So so because of that, many of those things have caused happiness and joy. Many of those things have caused pain and anguish.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't really, separate all of that.
Right.
I can't really do that. Because I would not be paying the totality of what it is, an honest appraisal of how important those things are.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what I'm trying to really get. That's what I'm trying to really let you know about myself.
Mm-hmm.
I want you to understand the honesty I want to share with you about certain things. Not just like the sparkling, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
When you were really feeling good and whatever happened when you're really feeling bad. I just kind of really want to share with you the totality of, I must say, I think that life has treated me well. I've got to say that. I think that life has treated me well. I think that if you look at it from an exoteric point, I've been given many gifts, and I'm still trying to manifest those gifts,
Mm-hmm.
right? And from an esoteric point, I would say there are a lot of things that I'm still trying to understand just about my being here on Earth,
Mm-hmm.
in the form that I am, and those people that I'm really growing close to, those people that I've known, those people that I'm just opening up to now, meeting now. So it's really like it's really a pattern of being inquisitive,
Mm-hmm.
because I was just as inquisitive then as I am now. I think I may have more tools to figure it out, but I think that I still have the same optimism that I had in those days when I felt as if there was going to be, when I had to go and work as a cab driver and there was no food. I mean, but that's not happening now.
Mm-hmm.
Now is I may get COVID and I may die. What? So how do you explain that? How do you you see what I'm saying? I hit that point.
Mm-hmm.
I think you understand what I'm saying now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
that's what I mean.
You strike me as someone who, and I think we all are to some degree more than others. I think you're someone who finds inspiration in all walks of life, and
Absolutely.
from anyone you meet, anyone leaves a little bit of a footprint in the sand, right?
Right. So yeah.
Do you listen to other artists? Do you have a record collection? Do you who do you go to in your quiet time to be able to enjoy? Like, who would you pull out on a regular basis of your record collection?
Lately here where I am, which is outside of New York City, and it's very, very quiet here. And I listen periodically to classical music.
Mm-hmm.
Why? I don't know. Maybe that's the only channel I can get here.
Okay. Okay.
So you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, so if that's the only channel I can get, that's what I'll listen to,
Mm-hmm.
as opposed to silence. You know what I mean? Because there may be something that I have the opportunity to listen to, and I just find it horrendous, or else I've heard it before, or it's taking me back to 1950, or not 1950, but taking me back to when I was a young kid dancing in high school. I mean, it just doesn't do it.
Yeah.
So in terms of listening, I guess it's a matter of listening to natural things, listening to the sound of the washing machine,
Mm-hmm.
and being able to rehearse and be able to practice with it. Have you ever listened to a washing machine?
I've got one right here. I listened to it. When it hits that spin cycle, this place sounds like an airport.
So you can understand how it's something that a person, if they're on a drum set, they could probably play with it.
Oh yeah, it's absolutely rhythmic. It's that's
You see what I'm saying? So I could take it in that direction, which I have quite frequently, and that people wouldn't consider that music; they might consider that sound.
I actually so I'm in my office right here.
Okay.
The washing machine's over there. Sometimes when it hits that spin cycle, I find myself typing faster.
Okay.
Because it becomes a rhythm of what's happening at the moment, and my body responds to it. So, the same sort of thing with birds. I could hear the birds, and sometimes they're like, wait, that's uncannily on time hearing that happen. Or a dog wagging the tail.
But I'm just saying.
Everything can be.
Yeah. So if you're in that situation and that's your environment and you're just trying to practice, you find yourself performing not only alone, but with whatever's around you, as opposed to being in a studio where you're getting ready to practice for a performance, and you have to really pay attention to the other artists there and what they're playing, and how they're playing it. Right. So if you're in a situation where, I don't know, I just try to take advantage of all the situations that there are. And right now, this is the situation I'm in, so I'm taking advantage of it. Now, when I just came out in New York City. We're rehearsing for a thing that's coming up next November 1st. So because of that, I had musicians in the studio, and that was a different mindset, mindset completely. So that's the reason why I say what I say.
So, for example, one of your old contemporaries or young contemporaries, Thurston Moore, he just came out with the solo album. Do you have a listen to that? Do you say, let's see what Thurston's been up to? Nothing? No? Okay. No. You're not interested in hearing any music or going out of your way to listen to any particular artists or genres or curiosities about what is that about, or what is Billie Eilish? Nothing like that. That's not how you listen.
Well, no, I don't listen that way, because I'll be honest with you, they're throwing it in my face. And when they throw it in my face, I usually will turn it off.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I mean, really, if that's, it's almost as if, like, you're going to dinner and you get there and all of a sudden the person gives you green beans. The only thing that's on your plate is green beans. Now, are you supposed to like that? Are you supposed to say, "Oh, pass the soy sauce. Let me make it taste better"? Or you get my point what I'm saying? This is all they're handing you. That's it. That's it. So I'm just saying, like, that is see how I think. So that's all they're handing you. So put yourself in that situation. What would you say? No, I want a ham. No, I want a steak. You're not going to get one. So you just have to search elsewhere, because you don't want any green beans. I mean, even though you may like them, but if that's the only thing on the plate, I mean,
Okay.
You understand me. Understand me. I know you understand me.
I'm putting myself in that situation where I would probably eat a few green beans and be like, okay, what else is new? What do we do? I'm going to try some of this. Now let's go to the restaurant that only serves asparagus. Okay, I'm going to try a little bit of that.
That's what I'm saying. Saying.
Is this how we're eating now?
But that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. You see? But the point is, in my situation, I don't have the freedom to go to the restaurant. I just have a plate, and the people are putting things on the plate, and either I accept it or I reject it. And usually, if it's the same thing over and over and over again, I like it. Don't get me wrong, but I mean, at a certain point, you have to have a balanced diet. Am I right?
No, yeah, absolutely.
All right, then. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, or you wither.
Right. That's right. That's right. Or you freak out and you break the plate and you go crazy. See? So, and I know you don't want that.
That's the Greek restaurant. That's where you go.
I know you don't want that. You don't want that.
No.
Why are you freaking out? Why are you freaking out?
Well, I'm always pursuing different types of music, and I've got kids. I'm listening to what they listen to.
You do really?
I'm really curious as much as I can be.
Okay.
But you know what I'm doing is I'm chasing the goosebumps, William. I'm trying to find those moments of music that just make me just, become alive, right? And I look under all sorts of different places for that. I'll listen to what my kids are listening to. I'll listen to what I recommendations. I got PR people sending me stuff, and I got to tell you, that's how I discovered you. Someone recommended it.
No,
and
really?
I'm like, yeah, absolutely. And so now,
you find that person and you thank that person. You thank that person. You walk up to that person and say, you know what? You really did me a favor. Yeah. Tell that person I like them.
I know that person's listening to this right now, so they know.
But another thing that's interesting is that you can't always be the receiver. You have to give people certain things too. And I think that this opportunity, you're giving people something that may not be on their regular menu. Mm-hmm. And that's also part of it. Just like you're listening to like your children's music. That's interesting. But also I know that you have music there that you want to turn them on to, or different arts or whatever. So it's like a give and take. It's always a give and take. It was with me anyway, and it still is. So that's a good thing. That's a good thing. Yeah. That's healthy. And to be honest with you, it shows you love them.
Well, I want to know. I want to understand.
That's right.
I've got that curiosity, and believe me, there's some music they listen to where I try not to judge. And I don't let them visually see my cues. If it completely turns me off, I don't want to have an adverse reaction that signals them to, oh, Dad doesn't like it. It must suck, right? But I'll ask them, well, what do you get out of this? What are you enjoying about it? What are the parts of this that are making you want to listen to it over and over again? And look,
do you get intelligent answers?
I do actually.
Okay, so you're lucky.
Yeah.
You're lucky because some kids.
I'm making them think about it.
Some kids will slam the door on you and kick you out their room. Then see.
Oh, that's coming in the next few years. I know that. Okay. So right. let me ask you this: so with free jazz, what is the
free jazz? No, wait. You said with free jazz?
With free jazz, yes.
Okay.
With free jazz. In terms of listening and enjoying the music, how do you recommend people listen to music? You don't?
No.
We'll be back after these messages.
Hey there, I gotta tell you about the Groove Washer. Not because I have to, but because I want to. The Groove Washer is the best record cleaner you can get. And if you have a vinyl collection, you need to keep it clean. Dirt and dust lead to groove wear, which affects the sound and value of your record collection. Use the Groove Washer to clean before each play, and your ears and future pocketbook will thank you. Ask for the Groove Washer by name at your local record store, or go direct to groovewasher.com and use promo code VinylGuide10 at checkout. Groove Washer is a great holiday gift. Why not send one to a friend? groovewasher.com, discount code VinylGuide10. Do it now. And all record nerds want to hear about AudiofileUSA.com, the family-owned and operated online record shop that's been in business over 30 trustworthy years. AudiofileUSA.com only sells excellent and near-mint vinyl records, only in tip-top quality for your turntable. And with over 42,000 titles, you're sure to find a bunch on your want list at AudiofileUSA.com. Audiophile vinyl is not just for the elite. Everyone can enjoy the gold standard of sound at AudiofileUSA.com. Search by title, genre, label, dig and find the deals at AudiofileUSA.com, home of the Holy Grails.
Now we return to the program already in progress.
No limits. Let me ask you this. So with free jazz, what is the
free jazz? No, wait. You said with free jazz?
With free jazz, yes.
Okay.
With free jazz, in terms of listening and enjoying the music, how do you recommend people listen to music? You don't?
No.
Okay.
I don't. That's not a good premise.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a good premise. As a matter of fact, I think that the best thing a person can do is to let them come to it themselves.
Mm-hmm.
I say that because there's too much that I have to learn. There's too much that I have to learn to be in a supervisory situation.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of want to be that I want to have two things going on at once, and I think you'll understand this. I want to have a freshness of an innocent beginner, so I can accept whatever person's putting on, and I also want to be able to, if I have the opportunity, to be able to share with some people the experiences I've had with those people I've known as well,
Mm-hmm.
which is the wisest thing I think I can give them if I get the chance. But I don't like to be in that situation. I'd rather be in the situation of the innocent beginner, because then I really feel as if, and I'm not saying that I'm not dissing your question. Don't get me wrong.
No, I'm not.
It's just that I'm trying to tell you how I live,
Mm-hmm.
and what I'm listening for. And I'm trying to tell you why I'm listening for it. Because I always want to be more open. At the point where I have to tell people, this is good, forget this is good, this is good. It's almost like you become stiff.
Mm-hmm.
You become stiff, like you're not malleable. You're not malleable. I'm not saying that I would be a person who would just want to, no, right. It's like I'm not a person who would just want to take continuously listening to I'm trying to think of some people that I've listened to in the past that I just listened to it for a minute and I was done. And then some people that I've listened to over and over again at those times when I wanted inspiration. But I wanted inspiration for me. That does, I don't know, people may feel as if I'm being very selfish in what I'm saying. But to an extent, I think that a searching artist has to be selfish.
Mm.
You can't just be this namby-pamby thing on the plate. I mean, you just can't. I mean, there's too much stuff going on. There's too much. Don't you think there's too much stuff going on? Are you serious? Are you serious? Are you serious?
Have you seen my record collection? I can't even
not
get to
only
all
that.
that.
Not only that, I'm asking you a question. Like, all right, where are you located in California?
Well, I'm in Sydney.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Australia.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm thinking you're in California. Okay, that's a whole other bag. That's a whole. I don't even know where that. Oh, all right then. So I'm just saying, because I'm talking to people that are like,
Mm-hmm.
they're in the middle of forest fires. They're in the middle of like starvation. They're in the middle of all this stuff, like, making sure their kids got masks on. They're in this, they're
Mm-hmm.
in the middle of all this stuff. And for me to just look at things from a musical standpoint, to tell her to recommend this, I might tell them just go in the house and just like close the door and just pray. I don't know. Things are kind of upside down. I don't know. I don't really, and things are kind of upside down. And I'm just trying to find those opportunities now myself, of those people that I feel are open to try and make things right side up for a moment.
Mm-hmm.
Just for a moment. Not forever, because I don't think that that's going to happen. But I think that we're coming out of something that's kind of mind-boggling. You know what I'm saying? I don't think anybody has the answers.
Look, I feel that this is perhaps the most topsy-turvy time in my life. I also look at what's happened, like if I was living 100 years ago, maybe the Spanish American War was
Yeah.
the most topsy-turvy. I think every generation, every group of people has their unknown period of history, where it gets pretty scary. And this is, we've been lucky to have 50 years of relative calm in the Western world, and now it's kind of hitting the fan, and it's unique and scary.
No, but yeah. But the only thing I'm saying these things because back to your question about what would I recommend. That it's so hard because there's so many different things to recommend for different things. It's almost as if you have 5 maladies, right? And they're all only dealing with health. Like, you can't take an aspirin if you've got your intestines are overflowing or something. It's like so when I say that, I mean in the sense of I have to really be talking to the person to find out where they're at, like for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I could recommend for you to listen to really totally hardcore free jazz the way I listen to it, because me getting to know you as a person, I think I would want to bring you into it a certain way. I wouldn't want to just hit you with something like that gives you a headache and makes you just feel like, what is this? Is this crazy? Am I going nuts? Yeah, because I want the door to open for you.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the way I feel about it. Yeah. And because it's very commensurate on the sensitivity of the person I'm talking to, where the person is at, what the person is experiencing, how the person really takes what I'm doing, or takes how I assess my relationship with the person.
Mm-hmm.
And so then I would kind of know what to say.
So it's like a doctor with a prescription.
Yes.
You don't know what the issue is.
Very good.
Is it a problem with your foot? Problem with the heart? What is it? And then go from there.
That's what I mean. And that's and so now if you could clarify to me where you're at, I could recommend certain things. You know what I mean? Now where are you at in terms of, and I think part of it you shared with me. You said
I think part of it also goes, how prepared are you to focus? Because we're all busy in our lives. Are you open to sitting down and focusing, phones down? This is, sometimes some music is fine to listen to while you empty the dishwasher, but are you open to be able to putting the rest of your life and activities aside to really indulge in a particular piece? Look, personally, I think I've gone through, jazz was, I think, relatively late in my life. I tried a lot of jazz for many years until finally someone recommended to me Miles Davis, Tribute to Jack Johnson. That was my entry point, because I had that connection with rock to that phase of Miles' career. I started to get it, and then that was my entry point into Miles' work. And I've kind of gone through a lot of the bebop, the hard bop. I tell you, I brought Coltrane Ascension home, and it absolutely thrilled me. At the same time, my wife said, "Well, I'm not sure we're going to listen to that a lot." So it's pretty, I understand it could be quite confronting. So that's why
part 1 and part 2, and it's pretty long. Am I right?
And it's pretty, it can be pretty relentless if you're not
intense.
For it.
It's intense. Yeah.
I think what I'm looking for, and maybe what people listening to this is they're also very curious, but free jazz also seems to be this ocean of material.
You're right.
Not sure where to start.
You're right.
So,
You're right.
What would be free jazz with training wheels? That's what we're looking for.
Okay. All right then. Okay. All right then. First of all, if they're listening to you and I talk right now, the most honest thing that I think I could tell them if you would listen to me, I think that I would recommend to them mindfulness. I think I would recommend to them the most recent recording.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely would recommend that because I think
Big
it
Moon.
covers a lot of material. It covers a lot of material, covers a lot of different kinds of feelings, so a person doesn't feel as if this is just straight out free blowing.
Mm-hmm.
So like an Ascension kind of a situation. It's just like free blowing.
Mm-hmm.
And because that can be hard for people. And I say what I say about myself, because then I could tell a person how to enter. And then once they entered, they would see that by the time they got to the piece that I did call The Distance Between Us, they would be probably ready for that.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say those three, essentially. And it's not only because of the genres of the music. It's because I think that, well, I can tell you most honestly how I feel about what I would recommend to a person about myself,
Right.
as opposed to another person's like whole lineage of everything. Because that gets really crazy. Because like you said, you entered like Miles at a certain point. Miles made a lot of records before that one,
Mm-hmm.
right? And you probably look backward, and then you look forward, and you look ahead, and it's all, yeah, right. So to be a little bit specific, I would want to concentrate on myself more, and I would concentrate on those particular things, because those particular things, if people are really curious, they understand that those pieces mean something in terms of the whole history of the way my generation has seen this work. They could see, like, as they look at it, they probably look at everything from the label. Geez, I'm just saying.
Mm-hmm.
Geez, they're asking themselves the question: what label is this? The Knitting Factory? What is this? I never heard of this place before. What is this? Then they Google it. Then all of a sudden, this whole area of history would come up, right? It has all of these artists on it that have performed stuff, everything from people from the Thomas Chapin to myself to Thurston to all these people, and then they're saying that all happened in this place. What is this place? When did this place happen? So I'm thinking about ways to open doors for people so they could see the context as well as the sound, right?
Yeah.
And then let's just jump up. Let's jump up many times after that, and then they say, "What is this? This record, Big Moon. What is this record? Number one. It's on this label Org Music. Who is Org Music? Let me look and see." Then all of a sudden they pop up and they see Shirley Horn. They see Jackie Wilson. What is this? Who are these people? They see Gilberto, and then they see like Bad Brains. Then they see then they ask themselves, what is this? What is this? And then they become curious. And they become curious like that. And then after becoming curious and actually savoring a good meal, then they say to themselves, so this William Hooker, he turned me on to this stuff already. Now he told me to look at this other record here, The Distance Between Us. What is this? And they look at the picture on it. They look at the picture, right? And they say to themselves, the distance between us. What is he talking about? He's got a record on here that's like Because of You by Sonic Youth. What is that? I never heard that record before. I might have heard of Daydream Nation, but I never heard of this record. What is this? Who made this record? And he's going to interpret this record? What is that? With all these jazz people, who are these people? Yeah, I'm just trying to like, I'm just trying to feed the fire in the sense of like the fire is being made, and I'm trying to build it up even more and more and more, so that the curiosity isn't deterred by the fact that I'm handing them all this heavy stuff all at once. I'm giving people enough time to digest the meal. And I'm talking to them about something I really know, something I've lived. And I figured that's the best thing I can do. And that's the way I would answer what you just answered about that, about what would I recommend. I would do it in that way. And those are the kinds of things I would, and that's why.
Can you be creative with an individual maybe you don't get along with?
That's a good question. I would think I could do that easily, because I would set aside the fact if I like a person and don't like them. Doesn't matter. But the point is, I wouldn't choose to do that. Because life is too short for me to be choosing to be around people I don't like. Why would I choose that? That's almost like, why would I wouldn't choose it. I'll just say it that way, because I could think of better things to do, like.
So let me put it a different way. Okay, so
me and my wife go take a walk. I don't want to see that person. Go.
So we all know that artists can be eccentric, right?
Really?
And sometimes
I thought that. No, I got you.
Sometimes that talent, as I see it, can absorb cycles that person would have put into other things like social etiquette and whatnot. So you following me? Okay.
Yes, I am. I am.
So now you get 11 artists in a room.
That's right. Right.
And sometimes you can have people that may be, okay, they're not being malevolent. They're not being,
that's right. They're being
disruptive.
themselves.
They're being themselves, but being themselves amongst
it's
these other 11
troublesome.
people. Exactly. How, as someone who's the conductor, who's pulling this together, the composer, how do you deal with that?
All right. Well, first of all, it all depends on the situation. I may have them enter the room at different times, because I don't want one person to be turned off completely by the way another person is or whatever. I don't like that. That's not my. And I don't want to be the judge, and I don't want to be that person. And secondly, I'm not only the judge. I don't want to be the employer, because it seems like the employer has to figure out how to make all these employees get along, right? Am I right? You know what I'm saying?
You become HR.
I don't like that. I don't like that. I don't like to be that person. So that's one thing. So I have to figure out different ways. And so far, I've been very lucky in doing that too, because there are people that are very disrespectful of other people. They really are. And either they do it, and I don't know the reason why. I'm not going to even ask. But I don't think that anybody should be disrespected to the point of making somebody else feel uncomfortable or making somebody else feel as if angry. That's not necessary. So when you're dealing with what I'm dealing with, in many cases, so I try and figure it out. I try and figure out the kinds of ways physically I can have things happen so that they happen, and it's all documented, so that I can get out of that person whatever that person has to give, without them being either, having to fight somebody else, because the
damage
situation
is minimized. Right?
Yeah, because the situation, half the time, the situation in itself, you have to fight the situation. I mean, really, think about it. You go outside, right? You put a mask on. All right. How long can you keep a mask on? You can't even breathe. Not being able to breathe is not a good thing. That's a hassle right there. So then here you are, you got another person, you're all in a room, and a person can't breathe. Do you tell the person to leave the room so that he can take this mask off? What do you do? Because these are the kinds of things you're thinking about. Especially many of the people I'm coming across, they haven't even got shots. So how do you, what? I'm going to put everybody in there so this person can like breathe on them and all this other stuff, play their horn all on them. No, I'm not going to do that. So I don't know. I think that one just has to be sensitive enough to try and figure out situations where people can coexist without them being lesser and without letting other people make them feel lesser. I think that that's the thing, because my goal is to make them feel better, is to make them feel greater.
William, I want to be respectful of your time. I've thoroughly enjoyed this conversation. I really appreciate you spending time here. Is there anything you want to share? Anything you want to talk about we haven't talked about yet?
Yeah. Let's talk
What's
about
that?
Big Moon.
Okay. Tell me about Big Moon.
How many times have you listened to it? I'm going to ask you. I'm going to put you on the spot now.
I'm going to say about probably 3 to 4,
Okay.
on and off.
Okay.
I'll tell you, my particular favorite work of yours for me is Symphony of Flowers. I really enjoy, especially the rhythms on it. I think it seems to be, and I don't know if this is, I haven't. Just notionally, it seems to be quite rhythmic, and that is something that always just sometimes some of the free jet or what you call free blow and stuff. It doesn't work with my patterns as much as something that is very rhythmic based, and that's why Symphony of Flowers really seems to be my sweet spot. I'm still growing into Big Moon. I haven't spent enough time with it. I absolutely
well said. Yes,
yeah.
It does take time. It does take time. And I've got to admit, it really does take time in the sense of like, there's a lot more. I think there's a lot more contrast in it. And also, well, I'll just say, I think that there's a lot more contrast in it, as well as I think that there's a lot more to absorb in terms of the titles of the pieces, the way it's set up, and then when you see it probably when it's on. Well, I have the CD now, and it's beautifully put together. It's really beautifully put together.
I'm really looking forward to the vinyl. The opening track, the piano track, Stations of Power. That is, I'm looking forward to listening to that on vinyl. I've got a very nice system, and that the piano, I bet, is just absolutely gorgeous.
Well, yes, and I feel exactly what happened, because once that was over, and then all of a sudden, Mr. Wells came in with the bass, and also the way Charles Campo came in with the flute. It was like a whole different. It was a whole different vibe. It was a different vibe completely, because at that point we knew we were starting. At that point we knew we were taking off. We knew it, and that's a good feeling. That's a good feeling. Secondly, what places do you think are the places that worldwide accept this music a lot more than I won't say a lot more, but accept this music as much as we do here in the United States?
I think it's probably, again, I'm just thinking about this for 10 seconds.
I assume that you've been around.
I've been around.
You live in Australia, right?
I live in Australia.
Where else have you lived?
Well, lived California and Australia, but I've traveled quite extenstively, throughout Asia, Southeast Asia, Europe, the U.S. as well. But look, I think that there's pockets of people. I think that there are communities and individuals and groups all over the world that could enjoy that have different things. Just same with like punk rock, you know. If you go to any city in the world, there's probably going to be a punk rock record shop and a little community around, you know, that sort of genre.
You're absolutely right.
I think that very much the same way with jazz, with any other.
Where do you want to see me hit?
I'd like to see you in Sydney Opera House.
Really?
Yes.
That's
absolutely.
pretty far, isn't it?
Well, everything's far from Australia.
Good point. Good point. Good point.
Well, here's the thing about Sydney Opera House, and I've seen symphonies there. I've seen orchestras. I've seen Iggy Pop there.
Right.
The acoustics are phenomenal. The entire experience, is just focused. It's a gorgeous place to be, and in this part of the world, it's kind of the tippy top of the respect, right? And to me, I think that would be an ideal church for the type of music that you create.
Wow. Have you gone, like, let's say, through South America at all? Because you did live in California.
I did live in California. I've gone as far south as Mexico. I had never gone into I've never gone to South America. I've never been to Africa or Antarctica.
Same here. Yeah. I went as far. When did you move?
2001.
Wow.
November 6th. It was Melbourne Cup Day. So
2001.
2001. Right.
Where did you live before? You lived in Southern California?
No, Northern California, near Santa Cruz.
That's not northern.
No,
Santa Cruz.
It's north of LA. As far as LA is concerned, it's north.
You have a point.
Yeah, no, you ask anyone in LA, what's Northern California? They'll say, I don't know, Santa Barbara.
All right. Yeah, right. Exactly. Because I'm trying to figure out. Yeah, I lived in California with my wife, and we went north from San Francisco, Berkeley, Oakland area.
Yeah.
So because of that, we went into Portland, Seattle, that whole area. I never really went that's the thing about now. I'm trying to figure out how to be able to go to LA and really be able to hit there. And I'm not that aware of like what's going on in that area, LA area. I'm really I'm more like a northern kind of a person, but it all depends on what's happening. But you said you haven't been to Africa, so you don't know what's happening there. And you haven't been to South America that much. We went to Mexico. We went to Mexico as well.
You know what? Japan for jazz is phenomenal. Have you been?
I haven't been there, but I understand this. I understand this whole monetary situation is crazy. Well, that's what I understand.
Well, when it comes to depth of listening, I think the Japanese, they seem to go the extra mile for that. I don't know much about why that is, but there's huge jazz following up there. You asked about different parts of the world that would be interested in this.
Yes.
I think Japan would be a phenomenal place if you ever arranged a tour or anything. I think you would you'd be surprised at how receptive they are.
All right. Yeah, that's good, because I only knew Japan from punk rockers that I knew.
I don't think I do.
He's in a group. He's in a group, a Japanese group that has two drummers, and I take the microphone, puts it in his throat, puts it in his mouth, and goes in his throat.
I don't know, but I'm about to Google it.
All right.
EYE or the letter?
Yeah, EYE.
Okay.
Yeah,
right.
definitely. And that's a group that I knew, but I only knew from like punk rockers and stuff. See, so you see what's happening here with me. It's just that I'm just trying to figure out Well, I can't figure it out. I'll know when we come out of it what happens. I'll know when we come out of it. And I'm really thankful about the fact that Andrew hooked this situation up. I really am.
Me too.
I really am, because I feel really good about being connected with org, in terms of how they backed what I'm doing, how the receptivity of my ideas, how they're flowing. And I think it's a very, very fruitful situation. And I'm just trying to make sure that we come out of this pandemic making some sense. And I'm trying to hit the United States first, but no, that's not really true. I'm trying to hit Europe first. I'll be honest. I'm really trying to hit Europe first, because I've played most places in the United States, and I think that when I go outside, I see a different level of respect. I see a different level of listening. I really do. I see that. And I'm interested in that. As far as me being able to get to Sydney, I don't know if I'll be able to do it, because you're someplace else, man. You might as well say, well, William, come visit me, man, on Mars. Come and visit me. Come.
I'll make you a deal right now, William. Okay, assuming global travel opens up and everything like that.
Yes.
If you make it to as far as Japan, I'll meet you there. Okay? I'll meet you there. I'll fly up there. I'll see your show, and then we'll go record shopping. Okay?
That's heavy. That is heavy. All right. Let's leave it on that note.
Yep.
I will talk to you soon.
Let's be clear. I would prefer you to come to Sydney, but if Japan's my only option, then it is what it is, right?
Yeah, you're absolutely right. But the main thing is that let's just when do you think this will be on, so I can tell my people that we're doing this?
Probably a couple weeks.
Okay, yeah, definitely let me know, because I want my people to hear us, talk to us or whatever. And this has been a joy. This is great.
Me too. I've really enjoyed this.
Yeah, man. This is really a joy.
Yeah.
All right. And I'll be in touch with you. Absolutely.
You got it, William.
All right.
God bless. Stay healthy. Stay well. We'll chat soon, man.
All right, then. Later.
Okay. See ya. Thank you so much, William, for coming on the show. It was my absolute pleasure and honor to have you on. Hope you come on again, and I truly hope we get to cross paths in either Sydney or Japan or elsewhere someday. That would be phenomenal. And everyone, there's an extended version of this interview available only to patreon.com/Vinyl Guide supporters. Become a supporter now. You could be hearing that within moments. Also, make sure to grab a copy of William's new album, Big Moon, available at orgmusic.com or from your local record shop. And of course, Symphony of Flowers, same thing, orgmusic.com, or bug your local record guy until they stock it. And that's it for this episode of The Vinyl Guide. Thank you so much for tuning in. Again, appreciate all you guys sharing these episodes on your social media, sharing them out on Facebook, tweeting them out on Twitter, showing your friends how to subscribe to a podcast on that smartphone of theirs. If you've got a friend that's a record nerd and they're not listening to the Vinyl Guide podcast, well, give them a bit of a leg up. Give them a quick lesson on their smartphone. Show them how to get this podcast, and they will forever be in your debt, as will I. We'll be back shortly with a brand new episode. So until we talk next time, get out there and buy some records, people. Cheers.
That's it for this episode of The Vinyl Guide. Send your thoughts to Nate at thevinylguide.com or follow or tag us on Instagram at Vinyl Guide. Until next time, keep spinning.